The black cook was insulted, until he said, "Your mother died in my arms if you call me just a cook one more time. I swear, I won't stay silent today." Serena froze. The words didn't come loud. They came broken, trembling from a place that wasn't anger, but pain. The black cook stood at the edge of the dining hall, hands shaking slightly as he held a silver tray. Steam rose from the bowl on it, mixing with the quiet tension now filling the entire room. Serena blinked, stunned. "What did you just say to me?" He stepped forward slowly, each footstep echoing through the marble floor. He wasn't threatening her. He wasn't disrespecting her. He looked like a man trying not to drown. Serena scoffed. "You're the staff. You don't get to talk to me like—" "Your mother used to say the same thing, right before she collapsed in my arms." Serena's heart dropped straight into her stomach. The spoon she was holding slipped from her fingers and clattered onto the table, the sharp metallic sound slicing through the silence. Her voice cracked. What are you talking about?" The cook didn't answer right away. He gently placed the tray down, as if even the air was fragile. His eyes, dark, tired, filled with something that looked almost like grief, lifted to hers. "You think you know her," he whispered. "You think you know what happened that night?" Serena's brows pulled together. "Of course I know," she snapped, though her voice trembled. "I was there. I saw no." His voice cut through her sentence like a knife dipped in sorrow. "You saw her body fall a beat. But you didn't see the truth." Serena's breath hitched. The cook stepped into the light, and she noticed something she had never paid attention to before. A small scar across his wrist, a faded burn mark near his thumb, and eyes that had clearly cried more than a man ever admits. Serena tried to steady her voice. "My mother died of a heart attack? That's what everyone said." The cook exhaled slowly, a pained, hollow sound. "That's what they told you, because it was easier." The lights hummed overhead. Somewhere in the back, a kettle whistled softly. Every small sound felt louder, heavier, sharper. Serena felt her chest tighten with something unfamiliar. Fear. "What are you trying to say?" she whispered. He looked toward the doorway, the old hallway that no one entered anymore, the place that felt like a sealed grave. "I'm saying," he murmured, "your mother didn't die the way they told you." Serena felt her breath shatter. "What do you mean?" He turned back to her with a grief that made time stop. "I mean, your mother didn't fall alone." A pause. "She fell in my arms." Serena staggered back, and then he added, voice breaking, "because she was running to protect you." Serena's hands flew to her mouth in shock. The air turned cold. The truth had finally knocked on her door. Serena's breath trembled as the cook's words echoed inside her skull like a distant scream breaking through years of silence. "Running to protect me," she whispered, barely able to form the words. The cook didn't speak at first. He only looked toward the dim hallway, the one Serena had never been allowed near, not even as a child. It was narrow, dark, and heavy with a coldness that didn't belong to the rest of the mansion. Serena swallowed hard. "What happened that night? And why are you telling me this now?" The cook inhaled slowly, a deep, weary breath, like someone preparing to dig up a grave with bare hands. "Because you deserve to know why your mother was really running," he said quietly. "Why she looked so terrified. Why she whispered your name with her final breath." Serena's heart twisted. A memory flickered, vague and sharp at the same time. Her mother shouting. A broken glass on the kitchen floor. Her own childhood voice screaming, "Mom, Mom!" A shadow moving behind her, a hand grabbing her wrist, then darkness. She blinked, startled. Her pulse hammered in her ears. "I was 8, she said, her voice cracking. "It was a blur. I don't remember everything." The cook's expression softened with an ache that felt older than both of them. "That's because you weren't supposed to," he murmured. "They hid the truth from you to keep you safe." "Safe from what?" Serena demanded. The cook stepped toward the hallway, and Serena felt the temperature drop, like the shadows themselves were holding their breath from the person she was running from. He whispered. Serena's entire body went cold. "But you helped her," the cook continued quietly. "You tried to warn her. You tried to follow her. You held her hand when she reached for you." Serena shook her head slowly. I don't remember any of that. That night, he said. Your memory didn't fade. It was taken. Serena's throat tightened. Taken? What did that mean? She followed him toward the hallway despite every instinct screaming at her to stop. The closer they got, the stronger the scent became. Not the warm smell of food from the kitchen, but something colder, like old rain-soaked wood, like a secret lock to long. Her hand brushed the wall. Dust. Cold. Silence. The cook paused at the entrance, his shadow stretching long across the floor. Why did she die in your arms? Serena whispered desperately. How are you there? He turned slowly, and for the first time, she saw it. The guilt. The years of silent suffering etched in his eyes. I wasn't just the cook that night, he said softly. Serena's chest tightened painfully. What were you? She whispered. He looked away, ashamed, broken, haunted, and when he finally spoke, his answer struck like thunder. I was the last person she trusted, and the one person she begged to save you. Serena gasped. Her legs nearly buckled. The hallway before her suddenly felt like the mouth of something dark, ancient, and hungry, something that had waited years to swallow the truth. The cook took another breath. Serena. She froze. His next words shattered the air. Your mother wasn't running from danger. She was running from someone inside this house. Serena's eyes widened in horror. Someone inside. Her voice barely escaped her lips. Who? The cook's silence said everything, and his eyes were looking directly at the one person she never expected. Serena froze as the cook's eyes locked onto hers. There was something terrifying in the stillness of that moment, as if the hallway behind him was holding its breath, waiting for a truth it had buried far too long. Her voice came out thin, barely holding together. Why are you looking at me like that? Who was she running from? The cook didn't answer. He only studied her face, slowly, painfully, as though searching for a piece of her mother hidden in her expression. Serena's pulse pounded. A cold sweat gathered on her palms. Say something, she demanded, her voice shaking. The cook turned away, just slightly, but it was enough for Serena to see the war happening behind his eyes. Grief, fear, regret, and something far darker. Finally, he spoke. Your mother was running from someone she loved, he whispered. Serena's heart twisted. What does that even mean? He looked back at her slowly. His voice felt like a blade wrapped in sorrow. It means she was running from someone she trusted, someone she believed would never hurt her, someone who lived under the same roof. Serena blinked rapidly, confusion mixing with dread. My father, she whispered. The cook didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't deny it. Stop, Serena said, shaking her head. My father loved her. Everyone knows that. No, the cook whispered. Everyone believes that. But love can break people, and broken people break others. Serena stumbled back. The chandelier lights flickered. Or, maybe it was her eyes filling with tears. You think my father hurt her, she said, voice cracking. Are you insane? The cook's voice trembled. I don't think it. I saw it. Serena felt her entire body go cold. The cook took a slow step closer. I was in the kitchen, he said quietly. Like any other night. The argument started softly, then grew louder. I thought it was just tension. But tension became shouting. Shouting became breaking. And then I heard her call your name. Serena's breath caught. She wasn't calling you for help, he said. She was calling you to hide. A memory stabbed through Serena's mind. A scream. Her mother's trembling arms pulling her behind a door. A man's voice booming down the hallway. Serena gasped, clutching her head. I remember something, she whispered, shouting. Glass. My mother telling me to run. The cook nodded painfully. That's why she ran, he said. Because she thought she could draw danger away from you. Tears spilled down Serena's cheeks. You're lying, she whispered. You have to be lying. My father, he wasn't a monster. The cook's voice softened. He wasn't a monster, but he was broken. Serena, and broken hearts do desperate things. Serena fell into a chair, shaking uncontrollably. What did he do? She whispered. What happened next? The cook closed his eyes. chest rising sharply as though he was about to tear open a wound he'd stitched shut for years. I chased after her, he said softly. I saw her fall. I held her. And in her last breath, she told me the one thing she couldn't tell anyone else. Serena's heartbeat stilled. What did she say? She whispered. The cook opened his eyes, and for the first time, Serena saw pure horror in them. She said, your father wasn't just angry that night. A pause. She said, he was hiding something. Serena felt the world tilt. Hiding? What? He stepped back as if the truth itself frightened him. She told me your father had a secret, he whispered. Serena's blood turned to ice. What secret? The cook's voice cracked, a sound like old wood splitting. A secret about you. Serena's breath collapsed inside her. Me. About me. The cook looked at her with eyes full of a truth so heavy it nearly crushed him. Your mother said. He began, voice trembling. Serena leaned forward, unable to breathe. You were never supposed to know who your real father was. Serena's world shattered. Serena's breath hitched so hard it felt like her lungs forgot how to work. Real father? She whispered. What are you talking about? My father is my father. The cook didn't speak, didn't argue. He just watched her, his eyes filled with a guilt that didn't belong to a stranger, but to someone who had carried her pain for years. Serena shook her head violently. This is insane. You're just a cook. You're making things up. You're trying to turn me against my own family. Serena, he said quietly. No. She snapped. Her voice cracked, splintered. My mother loved my father. She would never. She didn't choose it. The cook whispered. Serena froze. What do you mean? The cook's eyes lowered, as if the floor was holding the memory he feared to look at. The truth wasn't about love, he said. It was about survival. Sacrifice. Pain your mother carried alone because she thought she was protecting you. Serena felt her heart twist painfully. What pain? She whispered. The cook inhaled a long, trembling breath. The night she died. His voice faltered. She finally told me the truth she had been hiding from everyone, even from you. Serena's pulse thundered in her ears. Tell me, she said. Tell me what she said. The cook looked up, and Serena suddenly saw something terrifying. Fear. Not of her, not of the truth. Fear of what that truth would do to her. Your mother wasn't running from your father's anger, he said softly. She was running from the moment he found out something she had kept hidden for 8 years. Serena's voice fell to a whisper. Hidden. Like what? The cook stepped closer, until his face came into the dim light. A faint scar near his eyebrow caught Serena's attention. Something she had never noticed, though it was right there, carved into his skin like a memory that refused to fade. She swallowed. What did my father find out? She asked, barely able to speak. The cook's lips parted, the truth trembling on his tongue. Your father discovered. He paused, breathing through the ache, that you were not biologically his. Serena staggered back as if shoved. No. Her voice broke entirely. My father raised me. He held me when I cried. He? Yes, the cook said softly. He loved you, but loved and always enough to silence a truth this deep. Serena's hands shook uncontrollably. That can't be true, she whispered. That can't be true. She looked at the cook, really looked, at the way he clenched his jaw, at the way emotion trembled in his eyes, at the way he looked at her not with distance, but with something painfully familiar. Her voice cracked. Who is my real father? The cook's breath hitched. He stepped back, his hand trembling, his eyes filling with decades of swallowed truth. I shouldn't be the one to tell you, he whispered. Then who? Serena pleaded. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, the weight of his soul was visible in every line on his face. Your mother wanted your father to tell you. A pause. But he couldn't. Serena wiped her tears, choking on her own heartbeat. Why not? She whispered. The cook's next words shattered her. Because the man who should have told you was me. Serena froze. The world fell silent. What? She whispered, barely breathing. The cook swallowed, agony tightening his throat. Serena, I'm the man your mother trusted. And there's a reason you've always wondered why my face felt familiar. Serena stepped back, knees weakening. Stop, stop. The cook's voice trembled with a truth he had run from his whole life. Serena, I'm not just the cook. I might be your real father. Serena's world shattered into pieces. Serena swayed as if the floor beneath her had tilted. Her ears rang, her vision blurred. Everything inside her rebelled against the words the cook had just spoken. You, she whispered, you're saying you might be my. I never wanted you to find out this way, the cook said softly. His voice cracked like cold wood under pressure. But your mother, she didn't leave this world without telling someone the truth. Serena stumbled back until her shoulder hit the wall. Her breath came in uneven gasps. This can't be real, she muttered. It can't be. You were a stranger. She wasn't unfaithful, he said quickly, his eyes filled with urgency. She wasn't disloyal. She wasn't trying to hurt your father. Serena looked away, shaking her head. Everything felt wrong, twisted, impossible. Then how? She cried. How could you be? How could any of this happen? Silence. A silence that felt like it had been waiting years for this moment. He closed his eyes. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. It wasn't a confession, it was a wound reopening. Your mother was alone long before she married him. Serena froze. She came from nothing, he continued. No family, no roof, no one to protect her, and I found her working in a tiny diner downtown. She was 18, I was 24. He swallowed hard. We were close. Not lovers, not partners, but she trusted me like a brother, like a friend who could carry her pain. His eyes softened as the memory surfaced. One night, she was hurt, physically, emotionally. She came to me shaking, terrified. She didn't want to report it, didn't want to face the world, and I stayed with her the whole night, talking, calming her, holding her hand so she wouldn't fall apart. Serena felt her heartbeat stutter. She wasn't herself that night, he whispered. She was broken, lost, vulnerable. Serena's breath trembled. Are you saying you too? He shook his head instantly, a tear sliding down his cheek. No, nothing happened between us that night. Nothing wrong, nothing sinful. A pause. But that night changed her path. Serena frowned. What do you mean? He looked at her, eyes heavy with a truth that hurt to carry. She ran the next morning, he whispered. Ran from that life, from that pain, straight into the arms of the man who would eventually become your father. Serena's chest tightened. But then how could I be? She didn't know, he said quietly. Not until much later. Not until after you were born. Serena felt a cold wave race through her body. She told me the truth the night she died. He continued. She told me she had doubts. Doubts she never shared with your father. Doubts that haunted her. Doubts that pointed toward me. Serena stared at him, tears gathering in her eyes. Why didn't you tell her? Why didn't you take a test? Why? Why would you just disappear for all these years? His face fell. I didn't want to destroy her marriage, he whispered. And I didn't want to destroy your childhood. Serena shook her head, voice breaking. You destroyed it anyway. He closed his eyes. I know. She looked at him, eyes filled with confusion, pain, betrayal. If you're telling the truth, she whispered, then why did my father find out? Why was she running from him? The cook inhaled sharply. That, he said, is the part of the story your mother never got to finish telling me. Serena froze. What do you mean? He looked down the hallway, the darkest part of the mansion. The truth that made her run that night wasn't about me. A chill slithered down Serena's spine. It was about something she found, something she wasn't supposed to see. Serena's breath caught. What did she see? She whispered. The cook stepped back, fear trembling in his voice. She found something in your father's study, something that terrified her. Serena felt her heart stop. What was it? She asked. He looked at her, devastated. I don't know, he whispered. And that's the truth that still haunts this house. Serena's breath trembled as she stared down the dim hallway. Her heartbeat thudded so loudly it felt like the mansion's walls were echoing it back. What did she find in his study? She whispered again, though her voice shook like it was afraid of the answer. The cook didn't move. His silence felt like a warning. Serena wrapped her arms around herself. Everything she thought she knew, her childhood, her parents' love, her own identity, felt like it was slipping through her fingers like sand. She was terrified. The cook finally said, voice low. When she ran into the kitchen that night, she was shaking so hard she couldn't even breathe. She kept saying, he knows, he knows. I shouldn't have opened it. Serena swallowed painfully. What did she open? The cook's eyes drifted toward the study, a room Serena had never once seen unlocked. He kept a drawer, he said quietly. A locked drawer. Your mother must have found the key that night. Serena pressed a hand against her chest. What was inside it? She whispered. The cook shook his head. I only saw her grab you and run. I only saw her tears. She didn't have time to tell me the rest. Serena's legs weakened. Her knees threatened to buckle. Memories flickered in her mind, shadows moving. Her mother's hand gripping hers. The broken whisper. Don't look back. Serena wiped her tears violently. I have a right to know, she whispered. And I will know. She stepped forward, toward the study. The cook grabbed her arm. Serena, wait. She jerked away from him. No, she said. All my life I lived inside lies. I won't run anymore. The cook's voice dropped to a whisper. I'm scared of what you'll find. Serena looked at him, really looked, and for the first time, she understood his fear. Not for himself, for her. But she couldn't stop. She pushed open the study door. A cold gust of air hit her face. Not normal cold, but the kind that comes from a room untouched for years. Dust floated like ghosts through a single cracked beam of light coming from the window. The room smelled of old paper, old secrets, old suffering. The cook stepped in behind her, his footsteps heavy with dread. Serena scanned the room, the mahogany desk, the bookshelf filled with legal documents, the old lamp with a broken chain. Her eyes locked onto the drawer immediately. The drawer. Her father's forbidden drawer, her mother's last mistake. The door to the truth she had been running from since childhood. Serena's hands trembled as she reached for it. It was locked. Of course it was. She turned to the cook. Do you know where the key is? He hesitated. Then slowly, painfully, he nodded. Serena stared, stunned. You knew. I found it the night she died, he whispered. Hidden in her pocket. Serena felt her whole body go still. Then why didn't you open the drawer yourself? She asked softly. The cook closed his eyes. Because the truth didn't belong to me. He reached into his apron, into a small, nearly invisible inner pocket. Serena's breath caught. There it was, a tiny brass key, old, cold, heavy with ghosts. He placed it in her trembling hand. As her fingers closed around it, a shiver ran up her spine, a warning, a promise, a memory she hadn't yet unlocked. Serena turned back to the drawer. She lifted the key. The cook whispered, Serena, once you open that drawer, you can never go back. She slid the key in, turned it. A soft click echoed through the silent room, the sound of truth snapping open. Serena pulled the drawer. Inside lay something wrapped in faded cloth. Something that didn't belong in a desk. Something that made the cook step back in fear. Serena reached out with shaking hands, and as her fingers brushed the cloth, the cook whispered, Please, Serena, don't open that, not yet. Serena froze. Why? What was inside this cloth? Serena's fingers hovered above the faded cloth. The air in the room felt alive, like something was watching, waiting, breathing in the dust-filled silence. Her voice trembled. What is this? The cook didn't answer immediately. He looked pale, as if the thing inside the drawer had reached out and gripped his memories by the throat. Serena, he whispered, some truths don't heal. They cut, and once you unwrap that, the cut will never close. Serena swallowed hard. But it's my cut to take. She lifted the cloth. The cook flinched, actually flinched, as if the past were rising like smoke around them. Slowly, delicately, Serena peeled back the fabric, and something metallic glinted beneath it. Her breath caught. It was a knife. Not a kitchen knife. not a decorative piece. A real one. Heavy, sharp, old. The handle was worn smooth, like someone had gripped it tightly more than once. And on the metal, a faint, dried, brownish stain. Serena dropped the cloth. No, she whispered. What is this doing here? The cook backed away a step, her hand shaking, voice weak. That is the knife your mother found in this drawer the night she died. Serena's whole body froze. What? She breathed. She opened the drawer, he said. She saw this. She ran, because she understood what it meant. Serena shook her head violently. No, no, my father wasn't violent. He would never. The cook closed his eyes. There's more. Serena stared at the knife, her own reflection warped along the blade. What more? She whispered. The cook pointed to the inside of the drawer. Serena leaned forward, trembling, and saw a small envelope pressed flat against the wood. It had her mother's handwriting on it. Her heart cracked. She picked up the envelope. The cook's voice broke. She wrote that the day before she died. Before she even saw the knife, Serena stared at the envelope, fingers shaking so hard the paper rustled. I can't read this, she said. You have to, he whispered. She tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper, creased, delicate, trembling like it wanted to cry. Serena read aloud, voice shaking. If you're reading this, it means the truth is out, and I'm so sorry for what he has done. Serena's blood turned ice cold. What he has done. She whispered. Her legs nearly collapsed. No. Mom, no. The cook stepped closer. Serena. She knew something about your father, something awful, something she couldn't hide anymore. Serena's hands shook violently. What did he do? She cried. What did he do? The cook swallowed, unable to meet her eyes. He wasn't angry because he discovered you might not be his. Serena's heart stopped. He was angry because your mother found out what he had done 8 years earlier. Serena stared at him, unable to breathe. What did he do 8 years earlier? The cook finally looked up, tears in his eyes, and the words he spoke shattered her entire world. Your mother found this knife hidden in his drawer. Because it's the same knife that was used on your biological father. Serena felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. What? Her voice failed. The cook stepped forward, tears finally spilling. Serena, your mother didn't just run to protect you. She ran because she realized your father wasn't the victim in this story. He was the reason your real father disappeared. Serena dropped the knife. Her scream caught in her throat. The room spun. Her world collapsed. Serena sank to her knees. The knife clattered against the wooden floor, its metallic echo stretching into every corner of the silent study. Dust stirred, light flickered, and the air pressed into her chest like a crushing weight. My father. Killed. My real father, she whispered, the words barely forming. Her voice trembled, fragile, breaking with every syllable as if the truth itself was too heavy for her throat. The cook crouched slowly beside her, not touching her yet, not daring to, but close enough that his presence felt like a lifeline in a collapsing world. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I'm sorry you had to hear it like this. Serena grabbed her head with both hands, shaking violently. No, nitrogen monoxide. My father wasn't a murderer. He wasn't. Her voice cracked, turning small again, the voice of the 8-year-old girl she once was, but the cook didn't argue. He didn't defend the man. He didn't condemn him either. He simply spoke the truth. Your mother found this knife stained with dried blood, he said softly. She found letters, messages, clues that connected to a man who vanished just before you were born. Serena raised her wet eyes. My biological father, she whispered. The cook nodded painfully, and your mother realized the truth. Your father, your legal father, didn't just find out she might have loved someone else. A heavy silence fell. He made sure the man who loved her never came back. Serena's entire body shook. The study around her, once a place of respect, of childhood pride, felt poison now. Every book, Every frame, every memory. How could he hide something so dark? She whispered. How could he look me in the eyes all these years? The cook finally placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Because he loved you, he said. Broken people sometimes do unforgivable things, and try to bury them under love. Serena swallowed hard. But you, she whispered, looking at him with shattered eyes. Why did you stay silent? Why did you never tell me who you might be to me? His voice broke. Because I didn't want you to hate your mother, or your father, or yourself. A tear slipped down his cheek. And because I wasn't certain. I didn't want to step into your life unless I knew I had the right. Serena closed her eyes, tears streaming freely now. And now, she whispered. The cook hesitated, then spoke from a place deep within years of swallowed emotion. Now, I only want to be here if you want me to be. Serena opened her eyes, staring at him, really staring, at the man who carried truths he never wanted, guilt he never earned, and love he never claimed. In that moment, she saw the tenderness in his eyes, the trembling hope, the resemblance she never noticed, not in his face, but in the softness of his voice, the gentleness of his hands, the way he said her name like a prayer. She took a slow breath. Then she reached out and placed her hand over his trembling one. I don't know who my real father is, she whispered, but I know who didn't walk away from me. The cook's eyes glistened. The first time in decades he allowed himself to cry. Serena, he whispered, voice breaking. She gently lifted the knife and wrapped it again in the faded cloth, not to erase the truth, but to lay it to rest. I don't want revenge, she said softly. I want closure. I want peace. And maybe, I want to know you. The cook inhaled sharply, a sound of relief, grief, and hope all tangled together. The last bit of sunlight cut through the room, falling onto the cloth-wrapped knife, illuminating not the weapon, but the truth it carried. Serena looked at the beam of light and whispered, my story doesn't end with what he did. It begins with what I choose now. The cook nodded, eyes full. And what do you choose? Serena squeezed his hand, a fragile but brave gesture. I choose to live with the truth, not die with the secrets. Outside, a soft breeze rustled the leaves, whispered approval from a past finally set free. Poetic ending. The light in the study didn't erase the shadows, but it softened them, like forgiveness touching the edges of a wound that had bled too long. Moral: truth can break you, but choosing truth, choosing healing, is what sets you free. Sometimes family isn't defined by blood, but by who stays when the truth finally comes out.